I'm going to record this. May 13th. It's not May 25th. It's May 13th. And so we are about the halfway point of our May month. We're one step closer to Summit. I know that a lot of coaches are getting geared up, getting really pumped up and excited about the opportunity to be at Summit. So if you are going to Summit in the chat bar, just write, I'm totally going. I can't wait. Just so we know, because Megan and I, last year, we did a meetup. We plan to do that again this year on Thursday afternoon. So if you are attending Summit, we are working out the details for everything. And we are going to do a get-together on Thursday afternoon. On May 20th, the vegan formula of Recover is going to be coming out. If you're not really familiar what Recover is, that's our post-workout formula. It has been a whey-based formula since it's been on the market for about 2 years, and they are finally going to be releasing a vegan formula. So if you're not familiar with vegan, and a lot of people who have dairy intolerances of any sort, they can't take the whey base. So a lot of people in our team, coaches, and even our challengers, it's going to be a great opportunity for us to share this, especially with people who are already on Shapeology and they're taking the vegan formula. So that's going to be coming out on the 20th of this month. So excited for that. I know that I will definitely be changing my order to the vegan formula as well. So real quick, recruitment-wise, the Knockouts had 23 new coaches to add to the organization. One Fit Fam ordered. They had 6 coaches that they ordered. I can't talk tonight. I'm so sorry. They didn't order that they have added into their organization as well. Top producers of the week are Kirsten Jones with 834 and Megan Blinka at 766. We also have a couple of SC earners. I know that these have gone up. I saw that Kirsten has become an SC earner already this month. Katie is already at SC6 and Megan is there as well. Lots of people in both teams already on the boards, and I know that these numbers have since gone up too. So tonight, I'm going to dive into this a little bit, but before I do, I want to know from you right now in the chat bar, because I want to engage a little bit, like what is one thing that's going really, really well in your business? And then on the flip side, what is one area that you know needs a little bit more TLC? Like just needs a little bit more focus or attention or support, or you just can't get over this hurdle, or you're not really sure what it is. Like what are some things that are going really well in your business, and what are some things that are just needing a little bit extra tender love and care? So just like, let's start this conversation. If you'd rather unmute, you can do that. I have this open as well. I'm excited for Summit too. Yay! Kelly, I can't believe this is your first one. I'm so excited. And Michelle, yay! Is it cool? I want to know though, because don't be shy. Like tell us what's going well. What are some things that you're struggling with? What are some things that, just anything, like where are you right now with everything? So more posting and getting attention for people to be interested. Okay, Sarah, we're gonna push a little bit on that, because are we actually inviting? Like, are we actually like conversing with people outside of posting too? My challengers are doing great, but I've lost some coaches. Okay. More peeps than usual are interested. Good. I need more help getting them to commit. Okay. I am struggling with getting others to commit. People that seem interested, and I send them a cart and then nothing. Okay, so some follow-up, needing some follow-up love. I love it. I feel like I'm getting in the groove with talking to people and relating to people as I have in conversations. I'm more confident in my stories than I was in the past couple months. Okay, so these in a couple turndowns totally happen. So first, I want you to look at this chat bar, and I just want you to look at a couple of the things that everybody has said and realize that you are building a business with people who are going through exactly what you are going through. The concerns that you have, the worries that you have, the setbacks that you have are very universal in this business. And you're not alone in building the business. So when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about on the call, I started thinking about, I could give tactical ways to invite. And those things are key. They're important. Jen Guthrie the other night on a team call nailed it. She did an amazing job of just sharing the invitation process. But sometimes I really feel like we are our biggest roadblock. We are what gets in the way of wanting to actually do the work, like just make it happen. So in January, we set out with these great intentions of building the business, and I want to be diamond, and I want to be an emerald coach, and I want to cycle at $250 a week, or I want to have a $1,000 a week business. And then before we know it, we start looking at where we want to go and where we are, and we've created this gap. And as much as we want to close that gap, if we don't get out of our head space, it's going to be impossible to close that gap. And so one thing that I've learned in the past 7 years, and I just celebrated my 7-year anniversary with Team Beachbody, is that this is not an informational gap. We do not have a lack of information. What we have is a lack of belief on two fronts. Belief in ourselves, that we are capable of doing it, and belief that the business or the products are really as great as they say they are. So there tends to be a real belief gap. And maybe right now you want to kind of just jot down, like, what's my belief gap? Is it more in me? Or do I truly, am I having some hesitancies about what the actual business is, what it can do, if I can really be successful, if maybe it's just reserved for a select few, or maybe it is a product issue where you don't know that our products really do support and change lives. So ask yourself, just that introspective question of, what's my belief gap? Because if we really aren't achieving our goals and we really are creating this gap, there is going to be some type of belief gap. And I don't know what that is for you. I can't say that it's probably just belief in self or confidence. It very well could be in the business opportunity or in the products that we have to offer. So we're going to dive into that. And so I thought tonight that I would do it a little bit differently and kind of think about 5 questions that I myself have asked while still figuring out this Beachbody thing. So here I am, 7 years into the business, 4-time elite team, 10-star diamond, $1 million earner, 4 business centers, and I still will honestly tell you that I am figuring it out. When I figure out one thing, I feel like I fail at another thing. When I feel like I'm failing at that thing, I feel like something over there is going really well. So at one point, if we're looking for success and that arrived feeling, I am telling you, 7 years into the business, I don't know what that feels like. I don't feel like I have arrived and it's time to put my feet up in the chair and sit back and relax. So if I kind of just bursted your bubble a little bit, I really am sorry. There's a reason at 9 o'clock at night, I am talking to you guys. And that is because I truly do believe that part of my mission now in what I do is allowing people to see the potential of the business and that they are succeeding and seeing those same levels of success. But mine is not I've arrived at the final destination. So when I think about the questions that I was kind of putting together for you, they might apply to you, or maybe you've never just been able to verbalize them this way. But while I'm going over these questions, I really hope my purpose of this call is to let you know that, number one, you're not alone. Your concerns, your worries, they're legit. But number two, if that's the reason you're telling yourself you can't succeed or that you can't be successful in the business, you are setting yourself up for failure here in your head. Like you are building all of that up. So let's kind of walk through these questions, all right? So number one, I had to ask myself, Katie, are you willing to just start? All right, so let's kind of like think about this for a little bit. We know that we get objections all the time as coaches with our challengers and with people who want to join the team. And we go through these questions that they have and what is their biggest fear with starting, right? I bet you could guess. Why don't people ever just want to start? What's their biggest fear? Failure, right? Like people are freaking afraid to fail. And so think about it. Okay, you're about ready to invest $160 in this challenge pack. And you know what? You've done Jenny Craig. You have done Weight Watchers. You have done every diet pill on that shelf that you can think of. And you are going to pay $160 and then explain to your husband why you charge the credit card when you're struggling and your bills are like coming out the wazoo, right? And so you never really want to start because you're so afraid of failing. And it's the same with our business. So we do this thing where we kind of like hokey pokey a little bit with our goals, where we kind of are like, oh yes, I'm so excited to start next Monday. Or it's like May 13th and you're like, wow, I'm really at SC0. So I am gonna just go all at it on June 1st. No, like you have to start exactly where you are before you are ready. And so that means you're going to have to do a lot of awkward walking. So I think back to when I started and how awkward it was for me to wear the hat of being a business owner. I didn't know what I was doing. The first time I went live on Facebook, I didn't even know if the camera was on. I didn't know how to turn off the camera. It was a whole bunch of awkward. The first time that I spoke to an audience, I didn't know what I was saying. You have to understand that part of the business is embracing the suck and embracing this really awkward stage that you have to walk through before you can actually like embrace who you are as a CEO. Let's face it, there is going to be awkward stages of your business. Remember when you were 12 or 13? Like real 12 or 13, not like the 12 and 13-year-old girls like today. But remember when we were like those awkward human beings and we were covered in acne and we had like these retainers and then we had like, you know, like our hair looked terrible. If this wasn't you, it was me. I can show you pictures. I survived it. If you are willing to walk through that awkward stage to build your business, you're going to come out ahead. But my question is, are you willing to go through that awkward? Are you willing to go live on Facebook and it's going to be terrible? Are you willing to, share, like put an invitation out there to a friend from college that you haven't talked to in a while and maybe get objected? Are you willing to embrace the suck? So the only way for you to get to that stage of like being pretty good and really actually like starting to gain this confidence is to grow through that season of really awkwardness. You can't skip the awkward. You couldn't skip the stages from like 13 to 16, could you? You can't skip over the awkward stages of your business. When it's not that pretty, when it's not that fun, when it feels like no one is watching. You have to grow through those awkward stages. The next one is that you just have to remember too, that it can be really hard when you're surrounded by successful people to start thinking that you should be as good as they are, or you should be as far along as they are, or you should be as polished as they are, or your IG stories or your emails. And you can get so caught up in where they are and where you aren't that you just say, screw it, I'm not gonna do it because I can't actually do that. Your chapter 1, wherever you are right now in your business, is not comparable to actually anybody else. Sure, you can kind of say, well, where were you 6 months in, 9 months in, 2 years into the business, but really it is your journey. And I actually really remember a conversation that I had with, it might have been Megan. I don't remember. We talked about like, well, how much did you earn like 2 years into the business? And so we were talking about it. And then Melanie and I were kind of, my coach Melanie and I were kind of comparing where we were. And I realized it was like comparing apples to oranges. I came into the business because I wanted to grow a side income. I came into the business with no desire to grow it to a full-time income. I came into the business just wanting to get the groceries paid for. And I couldn't compare where my business was at the time where her business was, because her goals were totally different than mine. Where she started was totally different than where I started. What her beginning goals were totally different than what mine were. So if you feel yourself kind of going down this rabbit hole of where am I compared to someone else, or I can't do these things because I'm just not as good as, you're going to prevent yourself from actually ever starting. So when I think about the start, I say, I realize I'm not going to be that good at this right now. I can't just jump to being the professional. I can't just jump to being good at it. I have to learn through it. I have to embrace the process, embrace the suck. So what I do is I learn something. It might be a skill. It might be a strategy. And where most people, and this slight edge sort of difference thing, is where most people are like, I'm going to learn it. I'm going to listen to her Monday night call, and then you never do anything with it. I implement. So when I learn something new, like a skill or a strategy or something that I know can really help me be effective with my business, I implement it. And then I see how it went. I see how I did with it. I see what I could grow from. I see what I did wrong. I reflect on it. How many views did I get? Did my audience like it? Did they not like it? I implement, and then I go back and I tweak it. So I kind of like adjust it or change it up a little bit or slice it up a little bit, or I just dice it up a little bit, and then I implement it again. And then I go back and I tweak it again and I implement it again. So I am always going through the stages of learning and implementing and then tweaking and implementing and then tweaking again. And there is absolutely nothing glamorous about that. But the key is, unless I'm willing to just start and embrace the suck and embrace that awkward stage of weirdness as I grow, I'm not going to get very far. All right, number 2. I feel like I'm losing my voice and I don't know why. Okay, number 2. Do you really know what your goal is? Like, could you write it out right now? Like, are you very clear about what your goal is? And by goal, I mean weekly, I mean monthly, I mean your year-end goal. And more importantly, do you know like why that goal matters to you? Like, do you know why you're working so hard for it? And then also, are you also going at this alone? So I think it was 2000, and it was the end of 2017, so it was going into 2018. And at the end of that year, I realized that I was really trying to figure out a lot of the business on my own. I was not asking for help. I was doing everything all by myself. I was taking on like all of these roles of like mom and coach and upline, and I was running all my challenge groups, and I was doing all of the things, and I was just burning myself out. So the very first question I want to ask you is actually twofold. So are you trying to build your business without a team? So if you are looking at your organization right now, are you trying to do everything and not asking anybody else for help? That's the first part. And the second part of that question is, do you really understand the business? I'm going to pause on that one, because this is not just a business where you can sell product and be successful. Part of this business is building a team. And so when I looked at my business, I started to see that I was doing a lot in sales, but I really wasn't growing a team. My question for you is, have you stopped and done the research about why building a team as a network marketer is so critical to your success in the business? Yes, you can have success with sales, but that will always be sales. You will always be churning. You will always be like hitting quotas. You will always be having these crazy like benchmarks. But do you understand the power of actually building a team? So for me, when I really started looking at this business and I started to ask myself what my goals were, and I would say to myself, like, I'm hitting all these high SC numbers, but I'm not really where I want to be. I looked back and I said, I'm not really building a team. I'm not really building an organization of other coaches underneath me. And so what was the problem? Well, I was sharing exactly what what I offered in terms of the products. I was sharing exactly what the products were doing for me, but I wasn't sharing what the business was doing for me. So you really do have two things to share. You have these great products and programs, but then you also have the business opportunity to share as well. And so I had to sit back and actually educate myself on how this worked. I actually learned the structure of how to build through the compensation plan that Beachbody has to offer. I educated myself on what residual income was. I actually went into my back office and looked at the difference between my weak leg and my strong leg. And I'm telling you all of this, and I actually would encourage you when you get off this call tonight to do the same thing, to really understand that part of this business, if you have big goals income-wise, need to be rooted in actually building a team. And so when I thought about that and I looked at the content that I was putting out, it wasn't matching what my goals were. So I wanted this great business, I wanted success, but if I wasn't building a team, I realized I was going to have to make a lot of sales to be able to do it. And I once heard on a Craig Holiday call years ago, before I ever understood the business like I understand it now, he said, if you really understood the power of residual income, you would move a brick wall to make it happen. And when he said that, I was like, residual income, like, what does that mean? And I remember thinking that to myself, like, residual means like, you know, it's left over, which means you're really not actively like, it's not an active engagement of a sale, which means that I'm basically making money while I sleep. And the only way you do that is by building a team, and then the company compensates you for it. So when I actually understood that, I was like, whoa, biggers. You need to actually slow your roll a little bit, and you need to actually change the direction in which you're posting. So I had to redirect and say, all right, I know what my goals are, but my actions weren't in line with them. I knew what my goals were. I knew why they mattered, but I wasn't going to get there because I hadn't taken the time to educate myself on how the business opportunity really worked. And it's no one else's responsibility but yours. So, and there's plenty of resources. You can find them in the Coach Online office. You can find them anywhere on YouTube. You can find them in the team pages as well. But really understanding the business model, how it works, is probably going to help you shift your goals a little bit, but also understand that the potential is there to be able to do it. All right. But that goes into like the alone part of it. So as your business starts to grow and as your goals start to get bigger, I know in my personal experience, I needed someone to hold me accountable to my goals. So it wasn't just like, I'm going to set a deadline for Diamond, and if it happens, great. If it doesn't, I never told anyone, so it doesn't really matter anyway. So what I did was the very first time that I had set a big goal, I set it with other people who were setting the same goal with the same deadline. And I said to myself, Katie, there is no way in hell that you are going to watch them do this and you congratulate them and then you aren't going to do it yourself. And it made me really uncomfortable. And I really didn't want to do it because I don't like that like competition and that feeling of like pressure. But guess what it did? It took me out of my comfort zone. They were giving me ideas and feedback, and we were growing our businesses together. So question for you, is somebody holding you accountable to your goals? Is that person actually given permission to hold you accountable? So I know for me, when I'm mentoring people and they tell me they have goals, I will say, do I have permission to speak the truth? And usually they say yes, and I will tell them like it is. Do you have that person? Do you have someone who's going to say, that's a great goal, and then when you aren't doing what you want to do, are they just kind of saying, it's okay, get them next time, champ? Or are they like, hold up, you watched 3 hours of Netflix, but you told me that you wanted to be able to retire your husband? We got a little problem here. You need someone who is going to hold you accountable. And if you don't have that person, you have got to find that person. And how do you find that person? You have got to step up in your team page and let them know, hey, I'm looking. This is my goal. This is my deadline. Who has this goal? Who's doing this with me? I'm not walking, I'm running. All right? Okay, now let's kind of like the other part of it is delegating your work. So I know that I actually ended up hiring help way late in. It took me a little while to hire some help. But if you feel like you are taking on too much, where are little things that you can get help on? So for example, if you are a work from home mom, so you're working your business and you have your kids at home, can you hire someone to come in and will help you for 2 hours a day? If you can't do that, are you going to be able to delegate out some of the tasks that maybe are just too much for you to take on right now? I remember trying to champion through everything as I was growing my business, as I was teaching full-time, as my son was only 2 years old, and I was just getting really, really overwhelmed. So I had to redirect and say, all right, I really need to help. I need to be more present with my family. The only way that I'm going to get these goals achieved is if someone is in my corner helping me out. All right, so just a couple other things too on there to think about as well, but these are the questions that I really asked myself when it came to goal setting. All right, number 3, there is no one way to do Beachbody. There is no one definition of success, but the basics are a must. So one of the biggest questions I asked myself is, am I doing this for the carrots? Meaning the things that they were like putting in front of me for like rewards and stuff, or was I doing it for a bigger cause? So let's get really, really clear on this. There is nothing wrong with working for rewards, especially when you're like, I'm in a job and I don't get rewarded for anything. So I love that. It pushes me. Guys, if somebody gives a free t-shirt to me, I am all about doing it. I am like, give me the free t-shirt. I am pumped. I am excited. I am all for it. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a goal that's going to keep you rooted in continuing to do it, it's going to be hard to stay super, super motivated. So really being clear on what that vision is, why you are doing it, is going to cast the way that you project yourself on social media, and people are going to feel your energy. But it only happens when you are really clear on what the vision is and why it matters to you. It's not just because your upline said, hit Success Club, you'll be successful. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited because I get to help 3 more people in my group, and I only have 3 more spots. And I am so excited because I know that we're going places, and I can't wait to help the next person lose the next 20 pounds. And you can say this for your team too, but that energy becomes incredibly contagious. And if we aren't fostering that energy, it's really going to be hard for us to even cast our vision. But it has to be our own. There's no one definition of success. And growing into that idea of success comes with time, it comes with consistency, and it really comes with knowing what you want out of your business. So I know for me, some of the things that I really wanted to create a business that is structured really deep in my organization. So my weekly, I'm not focused on going 15-star. I'm not focused on ranks. And even this year, as my year has kind of shifted and I've seen income potential through building in a different way, I have noticed that I am going to have to define success on my own terms for Beachbody. With that being said, there is no one who can be successful in the business if they aren't at least rooted in what the basics are. And we know the basics, right? We have our vital behaviors, those vital behaviors that we are doing day in and day out for our business. Those consistent behaviors of inviting, we're doing our personal development, we are being a product of the product, and we are, which one did I miss? Oh, we are like recognizing the people around us who are succeeding, including ourselves. So I know that no matter what stage, no matter what my goals are, no matter what I define as success, I can't get there unless I am actually doing those basic behaviors every day, all right? And knowing what feels good to you, okay? So just a little bit of truth right here. I love Alana. I love 2B Mindset. I'm so happy with my 2B Mindset tracker. When I'm seeing that scale move, that is my sweet spot. That is my jam. And you know what I did this year, totally by mistake? I started marketing something that I didn't love. And do you know how well it went for me? Not at all. It didn't go well for me at all. And I made that mistake because I felt like I had to do it that way. You guys, this is your business. The only thing you must do are the basics. What you invite to, the personal development you read, the recognition that you do is driven in what you love about the business. So if you aren't putting out there what you believe in, people are going to see what they're going to see right through that, okay? And I'm speaking from experience. I know that for me, the Beachbody way is not the container way. For me, the Beachbody way is sweating for something bigger. It's supporting people, whether they just want to look confident in their bathing suit by losing 5 pounds or 50 pounds. It's going to be talking about tracking. It's going to be about the emotional side that we have when it comes to our food and our nutrition and our diet. It is not the containers for me. But if it is for you, good. But know it, own it, and allow that to be part of how you define your success with Beachbody. If you get excited about the idea of being an elite team, get yourself pumped up, get yourself rooted in that, and make that part of your Beachbody definition of success. If you're pumped up about the idea of going diamond, do it. If you're pumped up about the idea of maxing out at emerald, do it. I don't know what pumps you up. I don't know what excites you, but that's the point. No one's definition of success with Beachbody has to be the same. Everybody should be unique, and it should be based on your experiences and your passion for what brought you in the first place, or what excites you about it. That's what we should be focused on. And it's not stopping once we arrive. There's a reason I'm hosting this call 7 years into the business. It's not because I have to. It's because I truly, truly want to see other people succeed at the business. I want to be the one doing that Arsenio Hall fist bump whenever I see the first KB elite coach walk across the stage. I want to be the coach who is cheering so loud for other people, because that is what excites me about my Beachbody success at this point in the business. So building other people up, building bridges, connecting more people together. Are you building a business that you feel is worth fighting for? If you had to give your business a mission statement, what would it be? And when it gets hard, what are you going to do? Are you going to say, I can either give up or I'm going to learn from this and it's going to cause me to go up? So you have that choice. All right, so number 4. This one's my favorite because it's so true to what we do as coaches, and that is supporting one another on our journey, right? So Brene Brown is totally my girl. Love her so much. And I also read on the plane ride, it's a really quick read, but I swear to you, it's like the best book. It is by Abby Wambach, and it's called Wolfpack. And it is Abby Wambach. I don't know if you guys know, she's married to Glennon Doyle. And Glennon Doyle is a big-time blogger, writer. She wrote The Love Warrior. And Abby Wambach is an Olympic, I think, 2-time medalist, I believe 2-time medalist. And she gave this speech about being like an Olympic medalist. And she talks about this idea of being a wolf pack. And she talks about how people expect you to be like little Red Riding Hood and to be all quiet and just, to just be kind and sweet, but you are all have this inner wolf. And a wolf pack is when you surround yourself with other people who have got your back. They've got your back. And Brene Brown, and I think that goes so well with Brene Brown, and they just did this amazing interview together, and I was my mind was blown with it. But Brene Brown talks about when you are building a business, when you're doing anything worth fighting for, you are going to have people who are standing in the stands and they are hurling insults, maybe some beer cans, maybe a wine bottle, I don't know, they are just up there booing you. And, then you have the other people in the stands who might be cheering you on. They're rooting for you, right? But the people that matter the most when it comes to building your business are the people who are in the arena with you, getting their ass kicked right along with you. Pay attention to where you are giving attention. So if you look at your arena, are you paying attention to the opinions of people who aren't actually building a business? Are you paying attention to the people who have no experience like you have? Are you focusing on all the things that could go wrong, might go wrong? Or are you focused on being in the arena, being in the trenches, doing what needs to be done, and learning from the people who also are in that arena with you getting their asses kicked? And here's a gut check question for you. Are you doing those vitals every single day? Every single day. Are you using the products? So the only way for you to be an arena player, the only way for you to be in the arena and deserve the right to be in the arena with all these other people in the wolf pack is if you are doing those things. So for me, I choose to be in the arena, getting all bloody and marred, but I have my wolf pack with me. And I might be benched for a little bit, but on that bench, you can bet that I'm going to have the harshest voice screaming for my people to win. So where are you in the arena? Whose opinions do you care about? Are you rooting for others to win? Let me tell you something, guys. It is a very humbling thing to say, I am rooting for you to win when you feel like you are losing. But it is the most rewarding thing to know in your heart that you truly are rooting for someone else to win. Root for someone else to win because it always shines back for you. Don't compromise on time. It's a big one. This is like a Katie Ersto 101. I show up for people who are showing up. If people want my time, it's super, super valuable. Super valuable. And I believe that from the bottom of my heart as somebody who knows what time means, as somebody who understands how precious it is. Do not waste people's time. If you are showing up for this call right now, do something with it. Don't make me feel like I got on this call tonight and you weren't in the arena with me. Makes it a little different, doesn't it? Because now you got some skin in the game. Do something with it. Make sure that if you want somebody's time, that you are using it wisely. Make sure at the same flip of the coin that if somebody is wasting your time and they keep telling you they can't afford a challenge pack, go find someone else. Go talk to someone else. Have a conversation with somebody who needs you and who is ready to invest in you because they know you are worth it. But do not waste people's time, and do not waste your time on people who don't see your value. All right? That's a big one. And then this is like a big Alana one. I say this all the time. I don't get mad. I get curious. Something doesn't work. I don't get mad. I did get a little mad last week, but I get really curious about what it was. So last week I was having major issues with my email system, and I couldn't get it to work. So we were there, we were figuring it out. I was on the phone with Kajabi. My husband was on the phone with Kajabi. We were testing, we were figuring it out, and we would get really curious about it. Are you doing that same with your business right now? If you hit SC4 last month and you're like, I don't know why, what happened? Don't get mad about it. Don't get discouraged about it. Get really curious about what happened. And every time you get curious, you start to see like the truth. And when you see the truth, you can start to see those trends too. And when you see those trends, you're like, oh, I should probably track this as well. Tracking reveals trends. Trends reveal the truth. The truth is what sets you free. So if you aren't liking where you are in the business, if you're not liking where you are with the fitness, just track your stuff. Look for your trends. Once you see your trends, you're free. Now you can get shit done. Excuse me, I didn't mean to swear. Am I too focused on the next that I am not focused on my current? Talking about the people right in front of you. The people who have invested in you, the people who you can serve, those people that you have in front of you, those are your best resources. Treat them like gold. The people who are showing up as your challengers, the people who are losing the 10, 20, to 30 pounds, they deserve your attention. Give them a little bit of TLC, but ask them also for referrals. They are your testimonials. They are your walking billboards. Make sure that they are the ones that you don't lose your focus on. And this is where Katie is a little bit different. I love when people are like, yes, high SC numbers. That matters. I love it. But you know what else matters? Retention. Retention. No one wants to talk retention. Retention. Are your customers well served? Are they well served, or are you too busy focusing on the next 2 SC points? This is where Katie and the company gets a little bit different, but I can tell you that the bulk of my business is built on people who have been with me from the beginning. Have I lost a few? Absolutely. Have I made mistakes? You bet. I can name about 3,000 of them. But if we lose focus on the people that we have in front of us that we can serve, can you imagine? Can you just imagine the potential of the business? Don't give up on those people, the ones that are showing up. All right? Okay, and then the last one, and then I'm gonna give you a quick call to action, guys. Are you the leader that others would be proud to follow? And these are all questions that I've asked myself. So one thing that I make sure that I do is if I expect other people to show up and hit their goals, I've got to show up and hit mine, right? So you're not going to create a team of people who are hitting Success Club if you're not hitting it. You are not going to have a team of coaches who believe in retention if you aren't. You aren't going to have a team underneath you that's building a team if you aren't building a team. So you have to say, am I still rooted in the basics? I think a lot of people can get really focused and say like, I just kind of like, you know, I heard with network marketing that you can get lucky. I don't know. Maybe you can, but from what I've seen and what I've experienced, luck kind of wears out and no one stays lucky. So for me, I would rather take the slow route. I would rather build a business where I feel like I have a solid foundation than to build something on sand. So I stay rooted in that. I stay rooted in square one, but I had to ask myself that gut question. Like, am I expecting my team to show up in a way that I won't? And the other thing I ask myself is, do I shake things up when I'm getting a little comfortable or when I'm getting a little bored? I've run challenge groups for 7 years. I've definitely had to shake it up. And then I didn't like the way that I was talking on social media. It was just not like working for me. So I was like, I'm going to change it up. I'm going to do some email marketing stuff. Guys, have fun with it. Get creative. Allow yourself some space to kind of wiggle around with it a little bit and just say, like, I don't need to do Beachbody like everybody else does Beachbody. I don't. I have to do the basics, but I can make this business look however I want it to look. Don't get caught in that trap that it's a one-size-fits-all approach. And if you're not happy with the way something is going, change it up. I will never forget when Megan Morrison last year was like kind of bored with challenge groups, and she was like, I'm going to do this Fitbet thing. And I was like, cool, not my thing, but I love that you're doing. Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. There were so many coaches that helped people lose so much significant weight, and they did it because they shook it up. They said, this isn't working the way I want it to. I'm going to shake it up. You have to be unafraid of shaking things up a bit. And then grow a culture that accepts and welcomes growth. It's a weird thing when you start to see people like do their own thing, run their own challenge groups or run their own team pages, but it's what you want. And if you are starting to see people branch off and do their own thing, you're creating a team. That's what you want. And I think I'll just end with like just a couple more things, but I feel very grateful for everything that Beachbody has to offer, but I never want to think of grateful and comfortable in the same way. I am grateful because I'm still ambitious. I am grateful because I didn't stop. I am grateful because I will not settle when I know that I am capable of doing more, of growing more, of helping more. And for that, I am incredibly grateful. And I care so much more about who I'm becoming through that process than I ever could be about the end result. So ask yourself those questions. Am I rooted in the basics? Am I willing to shake things up, even if it's not going to necessarily work out the first time? Am I creating a culture that accepts growth? Am I grateful for where I am, but ambitious for more? And am I caring more about the process than the end goal? So let's kind of do this last stage of just a call to act. This is what I want for you to do this week. And this is, I know in our team page, I asked you guys to really say what your goals were by the end of the week. But I want to add on to this a little bit. Let's really root ourselves in why we're doing what we do. Let's really get clear on why this business matters to us and what success is going to look like for us. So I want you to create a mission statement for your team, for your business, for your challengers, and even if right now you are the only person on your team. What is your mission? So it's not just help people achieve healthy and fulfilling lives like Beachbody says. What is it that you say? What does that look like to you? What is it that this business is going to be for you, but potentially for other people as well? And then I want you to look at that goal. And I want you to say, okay, what's the action that really needs to happen for me to be able to achieve it? Does it matter enough to me? Is it a must or is it a would be nice? More importantly, think about what in the past has tripped you up. What are the things that you have kind of stumbled over? And I know we addressed this a little bit at the beginning of the call as well, but I want you to really think about that. What is sort of tripping you up a little bit in your business, and how can you take what you've said now as your mission statement, as well as the actions you have now proclaimed to be able to do those things? You guys, we are at the end of the month, middle of the month. But what if I call it the end of the month? What if I just say, like, this is the end of the month? Would you treat it differently? Would you look at your business differently if you went all in now? If you really knew why you were working so hard, if you really understood the potential of residual income, if you really believe that this business could change your life, change your family's life, and change the lives of other people around you, would you treat the opportunity differently? Like I said at the beginning of the call, it is not just a knowledge gap. You have all of the tools, the resources, everything, just a click away. It is belief. It is belief. Ask yourself, what is the belief that's holding me back? And then walk through some of these questions and ask yourself the same ones. And what would it really look like to go all in? You guys, I want to hear from you. I want to hear on your team pages. I want to know what your goals are. I want to know what your mission statements are. And I want to know how you are going to make it happen. All right? Okay. Any other questions, guys? That's all I got for you. That's all I got. That's all I got. All right. So I want you to know I believe in you. But I also want you to know it takes a lot of grit. It takes a lot of heart. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of failure and a lot of setbacks. But I firmly believe that every single person on this call is absolutely capable of building whatever they want this business to be for them. I don't care if it's elite, if it's diamond, if it's emerald. I don't care if it's losing 100 pounds and inspiring your mom to do it. It does not matter to me what your goal is, but you have to get very clear on what success in Beachbody is going to look like to you. And realize that as you grow and as you change and as you get better at this, your goals start to shift and to change. And so for me at this stage, 7 years into the business, I love the products. I love what I do, but there is nothing driving me more than watching the people that I have personally sponsored or mentored or helped in this business totally outshine. Like that is my big goal for 2019 and beyond. So, and I just want you to know, you guys, every single one of you, you guys all freaking matter. Like you freaking matter. Like you matter. You matter. Like don't lose yourself in just all of the other crap, like all the other stuff we have to do. Just when you believe you matter and that you can make an impact, you're just unstoppable. So that's what I don't know. That's what I've come to believe. So anyways, you guys, I hope you all have a great night. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Monday. And that's all I got. I'll chat with you guys soon. Bye, guys.